Hey, welcome to Challenge Accepted. I am Frank, and I'm with Thomas.
What's going on, everybody?
And today we are reviewing The Last of Us. All
Episode
right,
4.
episode 4. What did you think of it? First initial reaction.
I mean, another amazing episode in the books for The
Yeah,
Last of Us. Like, this
this
show doesn't miss.
this one did a really good job with the city. I think the city looks really cool. Like, I was noticing, like, man, they used a lot of cars in this. There was a lot. This was a high budget episode. We talked about it a little bit beforehand, but there's a bit of a two-parter episode, really. And so we're going to get the first part here, and you could tell they're like, we're going to spend some time in the city, so let's make sure it looks good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. It does kind of look like the game in a sense, but
Right.
it's like instead of it being Pittsburgh, it's Kansas. So I don't remember Kansas looking so much like Pittsburgh, but you know what? It works for me.
Yeah.
Probably for some Kansanites out there, like this isn't gonna fly, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Let me know if I'm wrong.
I mean, who are we kidding? This is all Toronto, right? Everything's filmed in Toronto.
Right, right.
Pedro was mentioning that where he's like, I was cold up in Canada while I was filming this.
Oh, on
Yeah.
SNL this past weekend?
Oh God,
Yeah,
he killed it on SNL.
I know he's so man. SNL is on fire lately.
Yeah.
Aubrey Plaza and Pedro Pascal were
Yes.
both amazing. So yeah, shout out to SNL.
God, the Mario Kart skit. Oh my God, had me freaking rolling.
It's a me, a Mario.
And then the one where he played a mom. Did you see the one where Pedro played a mom?
No, I don't think I had to run to the theaters today. I think I missed
Okay.
that one. What happened? I saw him breaking a lot though.
Yeah, he was, which, that's just, especially when you're the guest, it happens all the time. If you can make Keenan break, that's when you know you're doing good. But yeah.
Yeah.
But you have to watch it. I won't spoil it for you. It's just really funny. He did a really good job playing like a funny mom, but it was great.
All right.
All right, so I'm gonna do the 2 minute review for this. I'm gonna go real quick on this one because there's not a terrible amount on this episode, but it's gonna be really good. I think we have some highlights we need to focus on. So here we
Sounds
go.
good.
In three, two, one, we see Joel and Ellie are now driving in the little pickup, and they're headed west. This is obviously the pickup from Bill and Frank. We're starting to see them develop this relationship. The father-daughter stuff is eventually coming. We know that we're getting the first inches of it, and a lot of it's through this joke book, which I really liked. And we're starting to see it progress. And at first, it's just like there's no jokes going on right now from Joel, and that part obviously breaks towards the end, which is very nice to see. They get
Yeah.
to this city, and the city is abandoned, but they notice it like, oh hey, there's the QZ zone, but the QZ zone is opened up, and a rebellion has broken loose and has taken over the city. And this is one of those situations where, like, yeah, the rebellion won, but so what? Doesn't mean that they're great. uh who knows if, I mean, if you guys think of like the French Revolution kind of thing, like, yeah, now a lot of people are in the guillotines though, so that kind of thing. And
Right.
they're being ran by Kathleen, who is played by Melanie Linsky. She's from Two and a Half Men and from Yellow Jackets, and she's barely keeping things in control. She's looking for two young boys, and she's also dealing with some traitorous activity and stuff like that, and it's barely holding the city together. While Joel and Ellie are driving through the town, they are attacked, and they barely escape alive, but they end up killing two gentlemen while they're trying to escape. Ellie makes her first kill, and it will shake her forever. But she moves forward, and that's the main thing. We see them basically trying to hide for their lives. Meanwhile, Kathleen and the rebellion are now looking for them and trying to avenge the death of the two that were killed and looking for the two children. And that's kind of it. Joel and Ellie go to sleep inside of a high rise, but they are woken up by the two kids holding guns to them. And that's where we are. And actually, I got a little bit more time left, so I'll just say I can't wait for
Wow.
the next episode because it's going to be really, really, really good. There we go.
Yeah. Dang, well done, man. Like you did it so calm. Like I hear 2 minutes and I start freaking out. Where
I
I
can see it the whole time, so I know how to pace it out. I got the
that's
timer on my side.
well, that's it. I'm getting one on my side for next
Yeah.
time, so I can hide it too. Because I was like, you're doing it so calm. I'm very impressed. But
um,
yeah, you're right.
let's
Uh,
mention the new characters because Kathleen and Perry, which are two pretty big characters, is not from the video game at all.
right. Yeah, and I like that. I like that Perry was Tommy, the voice of Tommy in the game.
Mhm.
So that was cool. Man, does he look badass? Like he plays a badass Tommy in the game, and he
Yeah,
plays a badass character in the show.
yeah,
So that guy's cool. Solid beard, 10 out of 10 on the beard.
yeah. Seriously,
Yeah.
he's wearing the beard right now on his IMDb page too. I'm like, you get parts with that beard, man. You're getting
Yeah.
hired because of that beard.
That's right. Yeah, man. If they ever do Sons of Anarchy, a second one, he's in for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
Sounds like Anarchy in Canada. He's got it.
yeah, yeah. But I really liked how they started off the episode because it was like ripped right out of the game. You
Yeah,
know, Ellie has that dialogue about the magazine and was like, whoa, how do they walk around with those? And
yeah,
like, why are the pages all sticky? Just kidding.
yeah.
That part of it was great. The cassette, I'm pretty sure the song that they play where she's like, oh, hey, do you remember this song? And he's like, this was honestly before my time, was like pretty a good callback to the game. I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure it was the same song though.
Could
I
be
don't know.
Hank Williams classic. I mean that's just some really good old Western music. Um, it could have been. I don't remember if it was or not, but yeah, I could totally see that. A lot of
Right.
this early stuff is a lot of the little pieces of dialogue, like you just kind of like, oh, or shots, especially like when you see, like, I think it's the bridge that's out with a train on it. It's like, I think I've seen it in the game too. Little things like
Right.
that. I just love when they give little nods to it. And it's really nice. Um, the road trip of it all. Remember, Ellie's, this is her second day in the car. She mentions that later on.
Right.
And it's just that wearing down on each other and really starting to bond. I really like that because he mentions that she's cargo in this, but almost when he's saying that, it's almost like he already knows he's lying about that. That no,
Yeah,
she's not cargo. We're friends at
he,
least.
yeah, he's like lying to himself about it.
Yeah.
You know, and I love the post recap of it all. You know, you always get those like what the actors or the directors
Mhm.
or the writers were thinking after. And she's like, you know, she's telling him these jokes. Like Ellie's telling Joel these jokes, but and he's not laughing, but she knows inside he's laughing and she
Yeah.
doesn't care that he's not laughing on the outside. And that is like so good. Like she just wants him to have fun. She wants him to break like Pedro made Keenan break, as we were
Yeah.
mentioning, you know. And some of the jokes were pretty hilarious. Like they were getting me, although I'm an easy mark, like I'll laugh at anything. But
That
yeah,
jeans one was great at the end. That was, I was like, ooh, okay, that deserves being written down. That's a good
that
one.
was solid. Yeah, yeah. Or maybe runny, if you know what I mean. But but yeah, I love that part. You know, even when he's siphoning the gas, she's like, oh, how does that work? He's like,
Yeah.
well, I think it's pressure. And she's like, you don't know what you're talking about, dude. He's like, I know it works. Shut up. Get in the
Yeah.
truck. Is like so perfect. uh yeah, yeah, I don't know, I loved all of that dynamic building and the relationship building that's now going on with them, because
Yeah.
this is that point in the show or the season where we start seeing him open up to the idea of like, oh wait, I do care about her, I do like
Hmm.
her. And this is where that little start is starting to happen, I guess.
Yeah. One of the things that the directors and producers have mentioned is how much the two are alike, and we see that in this episode with Ellie shooting the person, and then Joel doesn't comfort her. She goes away, and she wipes away the tears next day, kind of thing. Like, all right, got to move on, kind of thing. Um,
Right.
I think we're seeing that too with, like, when you're talking about them siphoning gas and how he's just kind of like bullshitting his way through it, but then she's like, "I catch you bullshitting." They get each other's marks right off the bat. There's no BSing each other. He stays up at night watching for people coming in, and she mentions, like, "I know that you can't hear out." Like, they're both more observant than they're letting on to the other person, and I think it'll be a while before they just, like, say like, "Hey, all right, we're one and two," and they're on the same page. But they're
You're,
starting to feel each other out in that way.
yeah, you're totally right. They just know each other's mannerisms and kind of what they're thinking because they are that person, right? So
Hmm.
I think more just agreeing with you. Yeah, it was cool. Like, yeah, yeah, just the way they play off of each other and the way that they are so similar without showing each other everything is very cool. Like,
Yeah.
and we as an audience get to see how similar they are, but the characters can't verbalize it yet, or maybe don't even realize it. They're just starting to realize that maybe there's something there I like about this person, but they can't put their finger on it yet.
Hmm. Yeah, and
Mm.
I'm waiting to see, because we saw a little bit of it in this one. One of the big themes from the last episode is that Bill, like Joel, they're protectors, and
Right.
if Ellie's so much like Joel, then eventually we're going to see her play that same role in the future. We saw it a little bit with her coming out of her protection to go try to save Joel, and I think in the future, especially in the second season, we might see it a lot more out of Ellie, and I think that's going to be neat to see this little Ellie evolve into a protector on her own. I think it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like to go from protected to protector.
Yeah.
And just today, she was kind of skeptical. She pulled out the knife and then was like, no, pulled out the gun. And, when she shot, there was that sense of like, oh my God, what did I do? But also like, are you proud of me, Joel? Like I did it. Like you're
There is
okay.
that, yeah.
And yeah, it's we're seeing more of her character evolve. Even
Mhm.
when, she says, well, it wasn't my first time. We kind of, I don't know. is she counting her first time as when she stabbed the infected under the ground in the
No,
last
I don't
episode?
think so. I personally think it's when she got her friend, and I think they're going to show that she's the reason her friend got infected. I think
Got
she's
it.
going to count that
Yes.
as her first time because it's the thing that hits her. I think that's more than anything like the thing she's trying to keep suppressed is her
Yep.
emotions for her friend.
If you know, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. But yeah, that was cool. We do get to see more of Kathleen and Perry and this kind of society that they've built up.
Hmm.
I thought that was kind of an interesting thing because, again, as the directors or showrunners said, like just because you topple over this regime doesn't mean that you're any better. You start
Right.
like being exactly the same, right? They're busting into buildings and, they're running around with guns and trying to kill everybody. And we've seen it. Like Ellie asks, like, why didn't these people make it in the city? Or like, what happened to them? They're like, well, there's not enough, food to go around or enough supplies. Like, you got to, kill the few to protect the many.
Yeah.
And right, we get to see that here, just kind of how it's going. I don't know. I felt it was a little weird. Like I'm having a little bit of trouble believing Kathleen is this big leader though, a little bit, maybe because the
Yeah.
last thing I saw her in was Two and a Half Men. I don't know, what did you feel about her as that character?
I will say she's a far bigger badass than Yellow Jackets, and you should watch Yellow Jackets. It's quite good.
Yeah, dang it.
Um,
Well, I hear a
it's coming to
challenge
Paramount
coming.
Plus. I know, right? It's coming to Paramount Plus now because it was on Showtime, but now Showtime is merging into Paramount Plus fully. So,
Right,
or
yes. Oh, can't wait for that. Definitely.
uh, so she is a badass in that. That's what I kind of was remembering. It's hard, and I think they did the. There's always the like you'd save the cat if you're trying to make a bad guy into somebody that you'll be rooting for later on. You save the
Mhm.
cat, or the opposite. You have them shoot the cat if they're. So we had her like go back real quick, shoot the doctor in the face, so you know, like okay, she's a jerk. It's hard
Right.
because the actor doesn't portray that quite well. I don't know. She's just lovable. She's just
Yeah,
lovable.
that's the thing. Yeah, it's not that she's not portraying it well. It's just that, yeah, she seems like a lovable, friendly person. And I
Yeah.
saw so many years of her playing that type of character. It was like, I don't know. I'm having a hard time believing that she's just cold-blooded murderer. But,
Well, I think she's not going to be that. There's a reason that she's a leader, and I think that might be more of a motherly figure, not motherly necessarily, but like a
like,
nurturing figure. I think is the way to go with that. And I
got
think
it.
when we see Henry, and I can't remember the other name, I keep thinking just Henry.
It's Sam, right?
Sam, thank you. When we
Hmm.
see Henry and Sam, I think she's going to be doting on them, trying to protect them so much that we think, oh, that's for the best, but really it's actually not. And so I think we're going to get some sort of reveal that it's hard to say because she's not part of the game. It's hard to say
Hmm.
exactly what her relationship is with Henry and Sam, but she's clearly very invested in them. And she even thinks that possibly Henry turned on them by calling in the mercenaries.
Oh,
And so that's
okay.
like, okay, so what is your relationship with these kids? We don't know.
Right. I could see that. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, then that justifies kind of why she wants to go out and find these people who've killed her soldiers, if you will.
Yeah.
Man, it was also kind of traumatic, I will say, when, after Ellie shoots that soldier and gets him
Yeah.
off of Joel, and then Joel then turns around and the guy's screaming for his mom.
I know.
And Joe goes, it's like, ooh, it's so brutal. But it seemed like such a necessary evil at that time because,
You gotta
hey,
kill him.
he was going to kill Joel. And
Yeah.
now, it's like, well, do you want to be somebody that alerts the rest of everybody, or you could come back and possibly kill me or whatever? It makes sense, but man, was it chilling.
Yeah. You just it's too black and white right now. You can't leave anybody alive. That's
That's
it's just
right.
gonna put you in danger. Um yeah, that's the way it is. How video game was it to be like, man, we got all the supplies we want in this truck, and all of a sudden it's like truck's gone, we got a flashlight. Like, yeah, that's video games for you.
Yeah.
We went from all the ammo in the intro, so you guys can learn how to use your weapon too. You got 16 bullets. Good luck. It's
Right.
like, damn.
Yeah, I know. Seriously. And so much so that the other side was like, they have to be mercenaries. Look at how many supplies they have,
Yeah.
and then back down to, I know. What's so funny about me with games is that I'm the kind of person that goes to every loot box.
Yeah.
Like I like search everybody because I want all the supplies,
Yeah.
all the credits, all the guns. And then it's like, like you're saying, then boom, you're like knocked back down. The closest thing I can think of is like Ghost of Tsushima. You get to like a certain point, and then like your guy gets captured in the game, and like you lose all of your stuff and your
Yeah.
horse gets killed. Oh, spoiler alert for that game. But hey, you've had a couple years. And yeah, it was just like, no, I built up everything getting that and
Yeah.
now it's gone. So yeah, I
There's so
you're
many
totally right.
Ghost of Shadow of War does it too, where all of a sudden it's like, yeah, the ghost powers they're gone. Like, oh no. Um, It's funny you say that because when they were driving past those military vehicles, man, it was like bullshit. You'd stop and search every vehicle for ammo,
Right.
for weapons, for everything. No
Yep.
way are you passing that up so nonchalant. Are you kidding me? You
Yeah,
all over that.
exactly. Especially if you played this game where you
Yeah.
literally check everything all the time, then
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
You know how many
Yep.
drawers I've opened up in Skyrim looking for, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll take this one carrot, I guess. Let me go sell it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You found 15 cents. Oh, I'm gonna use that.
Score.
That's
Yeah.
yeah. No doubt.
Um,
Uh, but yeah, I think yeah, it was a really good episode. I just liked seeing how their bond gets closer, right? And then that's where we're going. And we see Joel start trusting Ellie, where Ellie's had to kind of trust Joel in a sense.
true.
And Joel's he's willing to trust her with his back, so to speak. Because she proves herself in this one,
Yeah.
and he teaches her how to hold the gun. She's ecstatic, and that's just him. I don't know. Do you think we're still going to get a scene like the game where he teaches her how to shoot the gun?
I think
Where she's
once they're
like,
back
Joel, I
into
can do
safety, yeah.
this.
I think we're gonna get once we get
Yeah.
back to safety, we're gonna get that. I look forward to her getting a bow and arrow, but yeah, I think at some point we're gonna
Oh,
get that. I
yeah.
think we're gonna have that. There's just so much more development between the two of them. There's gonna be moments where he's gonna choose her over other people. I think we're gonna get some more of those. Of course, we have more to come. We know that much, but
Absolutely.
it's just gonna keep growing. And I'm just man, Henry and Sam's story, the way it ends, is heartbreaking.
Is
And
yeah.
when they showed just a bit of them before it closed out, I was like, that's unfair, you guys. You can't knowing what
Yeah.
happens with this. Okay, so we have the Chekhov gun situation, right? So
Mhm.
last episode, Frank's gun is picked up by Ellie. So you're like, she's gonna shoot somebody with that gun, right? And in
Sure.
this one, it's that rumbling floor, showing that there's something coming up from the floor, like, oh, we're gonna get an invasion. And I think that's what all of next episode is gonna be like. This these two are about to collide. We got Joel and Ellie and this rebellion group and Henry and Sam. All three about to collide, and then underneath them is going to explode the fungus. So I think it's gonna be chaos. Can't
Yeah,
wait.
yeah. What do you think her reason was for not telling the rest of the hunters about it? Because that's my like one of my pet peeves in movies and
Yeah,
shows. It's silly. But when like one of the characters has this very vital piece of information and then they don't share it with the
yeah.
rest of their teams or the rest of the people that they're with, like why do you think she did that?
So in her situation, I think it's one of two things. We don't know what her relationship with Henry and Sam is yet, but she was wanting to focus on that. So if she is like their adopted mom, or their mom, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's like, okay, nothing else matters about my kid. That's one way.
Okay.
What I actually think it is she's just barely holding on to power. I think the whole point of Perry is that he's actually the one that's going to be leading them after everything falls apart next episode. And
Oh.
and I think like Perry's kind of like he's really loyal, sure, but he's kind of like she knows he's the next in line, and I think she's barely holding on to power. So she's like,
Mhm.
I can't create a problem like this without us checking out the other problem. It might get out of her control, like the way
Right.
she really didn't want to kill that doctor until she just is like, okay, I got to, like I think she was trying to save him for as long as she could before she had to kill him in her mind.
Yeah,
So
in her mind. I think that's a good way to put it. It's like, can I save like what if we had a doctor? Can we save him? No. Okay, well,
yeah,
yeah, then I might as well that's like one less mouth to feed and also like one less person who disagrees with me.
right, right,
Yeah. So absolutely. Yeah, it was good. I think it was really solid. And then we get to the last scene, at least for me, which was one of the best. Like again, talk about a weekend of Pedro Pascal like cracking jokes and breaking. And here we are, one night after the other from Saturday Night Live to now Sunday. But just seeing him crack up. I mean, an all-time like you throw diarrhea in any joke, and I'm probably
oh
cracking
yeah.
up. I got like an 8-year-old sense of humor, so that works for me. And yeah, it was just a solid joke.
Especially
And
with the
it's
kids saying it, like that's always kind of adding a little bit, like it's just so good. And the way that he's like
yeah,
trying to hold it a little bit and he's laughing, and that makes her laugh, is the fact that he's laughing. It's like this
yeah.
is such a cool relationship already. I'm rooting for him.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, I love that. I love just you can see somebody getting won over. Like
Yeah,
that. It's just like something about that in shows or movies like gives me so much joy, and you get to see it here. Yeah, and he wakes up with two guns in their face and
yeah.
some characters that we have yet to be introduced to, but I think we know that they're Sam and Henry, and if you played the game, you also know how their story kind of ends too.
Oh,
So yeah, you're not ready. I'm not ready. the people who made the show aren't ready.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be tough.
They're doing such a good job with this show. I've not had a complaint really yet. I just fully on board. It feels good to have a show that's so tightly done right now.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. And yeah, this is one of them.
Yeah. So no fun facts for this episode, guys. None yet. So we'll reference them as they come up. But right now we haven't really found any fun facts. There's a lot of um, references, of course, within game and stuff like that. But we'll come out with those as we can. Right now I had none, so keep that in mind. Um,
Right.
Next episode, though, this is important. It's going to be coming out on a Friday instead of Sunday to not mess with the Super Bowl, which is a smart move. Uh,
Yep.
what are we doing for such a special event?
Oh, so what we are doing for next Friday, when the new episode of The Last of Us comes out, we will be doing a watch party with all of you fine and lovely people out there. So it's going to be a great time. We are going to be just watching it and watching along with you. And we're going to do our commentary and then turn that into an episode. So if you ever wanted to watch along with us and be on an episode, now's your chance because
Mhm.
it's happening this Friday. So it should be a ton of fun.
Let's do it. We're going to do it through Discord. I think is our best bet. So we'll do it through Discord. I'll
All
have an
right.
event. I'll make it today. You guys can sign up for it if you want to, or you can just show up. That's fine too. Um, we'll talk about it, and then afterwards, we'll also record a regular episode for it too. Probably not, well, as well. We'll see. Um, and so you could have
Yeah.
that standalone.
We'll
You
see how
guys could
good it goes.
right. You can hit basically. You guys could listen to the regular episode, or you can listen to the watch. I want the watch party to be separate, so you guys could watch that at your own pace. That should be fun. We'll see how that goes. That'll be. I'm looking forward to it. It's an experiment, guys. You're gonna let us know how you
Yeah,
like it, and that's how we know if we're gonna do more of them.
for sure. And if you've ever want to hear me scream like a little girl in real time, yeah, don't miss out. Don't miss out. So
Yeah,
here you go.
I'm there for it. And then we have a lot coming up. So after the following week, we have a following I think it is. No, eventually, very soon, we're gonna have the Game of Thrones. There it is.
Game of
And then
Thrones
we've
is
got
coming very shortly.
yeah, and then we've got some other things coming up really quick that are gonna be really really good, and I can't wait to share. That's gonna be cool.
Absolutely.
All
Yeah.
right,
What a
guys.
week.
Yeah, I think that's it for this one though. It's short, but that's how the episode was. It was short and sweet, and got us hyped up for the next week. Oh, next week is that's gonna be too much. It's gonna be so big.
I'm not
Oof.
ready. I gotta book a therapy session on for Monday because I think it's gonna be a tough day.
My next one's not until like the beginning of March. And when I'm like, have you seen The Last of Us?
Yeah. Do you understand what I'm going through in my life? The Last of Us
Oh
is
man.
literally tearing me apart.
Oh man. All right, y'all. We will see you guys next week. Thanks for hanging out with us.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Aloha. Bye.
Bye.